Hey, welcome everybody to Heart of the Campfire, or Around the Campfire, or Campfire Fiasco. We're not even sure what this podcast is going to be called. I'm Bob, and the co-host Rudi I'm about to call in over the phone. We did this project together, but then we kind of now live in separate towns, so we're trying to figure out what's a good venue to talk about the 3 books we wrote called the Centennial Campfire Trilogy. We never set out to write a book. We set out to do a campfire talk to celebrate the 100th birthday of the National Park Service. And we had such good chemistry and enjoyed it so much, the story, that we felt like it was worthy of putting it to paper and pen. And we did that just in time for the Centennial, Park Service Centennial in 2016. And that first book was called Legend of Campfire Charlie. But we were only a third of the way there. The next book came out 2 years later, Last Stand at Boulder Ridge, and finally, this stunning and riveting conclusion, The Final Campfire. We just published that book in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon in 2020. So this podcast is all about discussing our process, the story, and just kind of thinking out loud, what the hell happened, how did we do it, and share it with ourselves and others. So let me give Rudi a call. Hey, just starting off, Rudi, I wanted to apologize for that crack about the Heartlighter wood. I kind of implied there that you were kind of a rookie around the campfire and couldn't get the darn campfire started. So wanted to apologize for that right out of the gate.
Well, I got
lost.
lighter wood. I mean, and you told people like I read about it, like I'm some kind of, like I'm some kind of greenhorn novice. But I actually my dad used to take us camping. I spent a lot of time out in the woods as a kid growing up in Rockledge. I mean, we didn't use the word heartlighter, but my dad, basically we got pine. I knew that pine, burned a little bit better.
Hey, Rudi, I have a question for you. Who would you give the most, if you could think of one person to kind of thank or kind of give credit to this on the book we did, the trilogy, who would that be?
In that story, believe it or not, there is I remember, at my previous job, there was a fellow I used to work with, in my particular vocation, giving talks, giving interpretive talks. And he talked about the campfire talk, the tradition of the campfire talk, not the way we approached it in historical terms, but just as a general thing that, someone like a park ranger would do, whether state or regardless of where they were. And we talked about using PowerPoint. We had a very professional discussion. We were talking about PowerPoints, and he kind of entered the conversation. We were all in the break room, and he said, "I don't do PowerPoints." The guy whose name is Mel. Florida boy. He was from Central Florida. He and I shared that in common. He said, "I don't do PowerPoints." He says, "I don't believe in them." And that was years before. That was, I think, back in 2011. Long before we embarked on the power, and that kind of stuck with me. When we Remember when the genesis of the campfire of the talk, when we started talking about the campfires, when we were at that function, that's what brought to mind the conversation.
Hey, Rudy, I got another question for you. If you're from Florida, everybody thinks of Disney. What's your campfires kind of the antithesis of Disney? So what's your first experience as a native Floridian around a campfire?
I remember this, my first camping. It brings me back to my first camping experience, which was not a... Now, of course, my dad, God rest his soul, he took us camping. We went to campgrounds. Of course, we sat around the campfire, which was wonderful. I have great memories of that. But I remember going and seeing talks and we went to Fort Wilderness Disney Campground, which was a lot more primitive then.
It was a fake fire too. It was not.
It was a real fire. You had a bunch of people gather, and you did have movies and things like that. You saw an outdoor Disney movie, but before that, you had the Disney. I guess they were rangers because they were dressed like rangers, and they would have some people with guitars, and they would do a sing-along around the campfire, and people would roast marshmallows and things like that. They could come up and sit, and it was grand.
Hey, that was a good answer. Thanks, Rudy. We're going to think this is a good time for a commercial break. Hey, have you ever been out in the woods and needed to start a campfire? Couldn't find one? Try Heartlighter wood. It's the very best kindling, just the best way to get a campfire going, and just the embers and the smoke. It is just a clean burning part of the pine. Heartlighter wood, your best campfire source. All right, here's another curveball for you. If you had to choose between discussing the overarching theme, the writing process, the characters, the three books, maybe the origin story of the books, or setting, which one would you choose?
Well, let's try tomorrow. We'll do a little 5-minute podcast about the setting and what the swamp is, the people who live there, how it's changed over time, how it went from a very freewheeling frontier to what it is now, which is kind of...
All right. Well, this kind of, I think one of the origin stories of this book is a parking lot. You were out parking cars and you smelled food at a nearby campfire. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that. Had that discussion.
I was out in that parking lot while everybody was having a grand old time, and I'm there parking cars, which I thought was unfair. And I was eventually allowed to come back in, but I did my duty.
You didn't know if you were allowed to get food, so I fed you food, and we got a conversation going. And you and I kind of knew each other then, but we weren't the best of buds or anything. But around that campfire, you were talking about the camp. Once you got a little food in your gut, you started saying, the campfire is the original TV, and then you started talking about how you love the idea of the campfire talks, but you hated they were done with a PowerPoint. And,
because you know what? Because
that's terrible. We should do something together. And you said, "Oh, that'd be a capital idea." But what's your defining characteristic is, or one of your many endearing defining characteristics is, you like to talk about things, but not do them. So I remember that you had kind of forgot about it, and a week later I said, "Yeah, let's do this campfire talk. I'll play some guitar. I've got this, a repertoire of farewell songs. I only sing them once. Why don't we work them into a campfire talk and tell people what the Big Cypress Swamp's all about?" And
well, that was something I couldn't have done myself, because like the just doing a talk around the campfire. I mean, the concept appealed to me, but people had come to expect. People, when they come to the, when you have campers, when people come and they camp the preserve, they come to expect some sort of talk, ranger talk, and they come to expect a PowerPoint.
all right, well, there you have it. That was Rudi and I's maiden podcast, and as you can see, we have a lot of work to do, but don't doubt, and I think it's the rule of the ninja: never doubt, never fear, never second guess. Rudi and I are going to figure this out, and I think we're going to have some good discussions, even if it's only us listening. So hope to hear from you next time, and until next time, remember, insert catchphrase here. All right.